Also, what is huge and unfolding is over in WA. Our great mate, Mal Meninga and the Bears, they finally get their signings rolling this week. We hear that Toby Sexton is the biggest name that they've got so far. And Mal's got a very long list to still fill.
Yeah, he's got a big job.
Yeah, a huge job on his hands.
Another interesting one this morning, Isaac Fa'asua-Malawi committing to the Bears, which then leads to the rumours around Tino reuniting with Mal. Obviously spent time together at the Gold Coast and have had relationships throughout the representative scene as well. So
he needs a Tino.
Oh,
he does. You know, that'd be a dream get for Perth, but there's a reason. You know, Tino's reason for going open market and possibly leaving the Titans is being competitive as a club and winning premierships. So why would he go to the Bears, who can barely form a team right now? Like, realistically, like, that's the reality. You know, I don't think that Tino will go there. I'll push back on to, because I had some dealings with Perth around Cameron a few months back, so I knew probably more than most, and I knew who they were trying to get and why they were trying to get them, but I also knew that they had a lot of hurdles in front of them. Like, Mal's had a tough job to do here. Like, they're not starting in Brisbane, like, and we'll get to the Dolphins, but they're starting a new franchise in a new city who don't really follow rugby league. There's been no compensation given to Perth in terms of money or, you know, players or anything. He's going to have to start from the ground up. If you look at the Dolphins had a club there for, 100 years? They've had a club there forever. They've got a fan base that already exists. You're going to try and get players to move their whole family to another state on the same salary cap. Yeah, you get paid a little bit of overs, but is it worth it? Are you going to go there with a team that isn't formed? You're probably likely to not have success early on. Is that going to be detrimental to your own career, and is that going to, you know, harm your longevity in our game? There's a lot to think about as a player, and they do need, like, that's why they were trying to get Cameron, obviously, because you need a big gun like Tino to really start the ball rolling, you know.
Attracting the other key talent.
But it's not that easy.
Yeah.
You know, I think, you know, my one criticism of the NRL is that the Bears should have had some compensation and help, you know, because at the end of the day,
they were starting from a lower base.
The success of the Bears is the success of the NRL, and it's great for Peter and Andrew and the team if the Bears are successful. You know, they can hang their hat on that. But if the Bears aren't, it also falls back on them. So I think it's a bit bizarre that they haven't had a bit more help in that way. Like, I thought that it would have been best for everyone involved in our game if they did have a little bit of help.
So you just think financial, because is that what the
more
compensation?
time?
Well, there's a combination of everything. You know, like, there is a combination of everything.
Or should they have been given access to players before November 1? I mean, that's what Mal was pushing for.
Yeah, I think a number of things like that.
Because everyone was on the open market. Could he? Yeah, I mean, that was what he was pushing for.
Yeah, definitely. There had to be some sort of loophole in situations like this that gives them a leg up to sort of have success, because it could be a very tough grind this for a period of time.
Yeah. Yeah, so when you look at what the players that they could be targeting, and you look at the way the Dolphins did it, there may be players that come off, well, that are unhappy early next year, or that, you know, that circumstances change. But that's a big gamble to be waiting for.
In the modern game,
for
everyone's off contract, Lara.
Yeah.
That's the cold hard facts of it. Whilst ever there's the rules that are in place, and, you know, in a perfect world, you like to think that everyone toes the line, but, you know, sides are moving and shaking all the time and looking to balance and juggle their salary cap. And then sides, you know, are looking for certain types of players, and conversations are happening.
So agitating someone who may not be happy elsewhere.
Well, I just think that there's got to be a real clear blueprint of what type of footy side Mal wants to look like, and I feel like those players are there. I think Wayne had exactly what he wanted his side to look like, and Braith's right. The Dolphins were set up financially. They had all their sponsorship in place. They had a leagues club that had been highly profitable for a long period of time. So they had all that infrastructure already in place. They just needed to build a side that not only was competitive, but also set the tone for the club of what they wanted their footy side to look like moving forward. So they went after blokes like Bromwich, the Bromwich brothers. They went after Felice Kafusi. They went after Mark Nichols. They recruited young, tough men like Max Plath and Tom Gilbert. And then they brought in, you know, and it took some time for them to land Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow, but they were patient. They missed out on some big stars like Mal's going to do over there, but they knew what type of player they wanted, and they were patient until they got him, and he became their draw card, their superstar, their jersey seller, Hamiso. If I'm Mal, I'm going after blokes like Connor Tracy. I'm going after Cody Nikarima to play with Sexton. I'm going after Corey Jensen, who's been an unsung hero at the Broncos behind Haas and Carrigan. I'm going after Ray Stone, those type of players that their side know their fans know will be competitive every week.
And then you get a couple of big
and
names.
then they've got to land a Tino. They've got to land, you know,
a hammer.
I think the hard thing is it's the chicken or the egg. You know, which one do you go for first? Do you kind of try and land the pay overs for the pay 1.5, 1.6, 1.7 for a player worth one?
I think we forget. Right around that October, November, December, when Wayne was starting with the Dolphins, he was signing Felice Kafusi, Asako, Ray Stone, and the headlines that were going out were misses out on Ponga, the big guns he did actually go for, he did miss out on. So,
who's on offer though?
Yeah.
Like at the moment, like in terms of big guns, like who is on?
It'll be for 27.
You know, like I think as time goes on, there's going to be some, you know, there's probably going to be more to choose from and some bigger names come up. Right now, there isn't a hell of a lot.
Again, though, clubs, Braith, and you know it as a player manager, there's some of those elite players that are taking up huge amounts of salary cap, and they may have a year or two to go on their contract. And a club can say, okay, well, like, and I'm only using this as an example. Newcastle have gone and brought Dylan Brown, huge money. They've got Kalen Ponga, big money. Then you've got Fletcher Sharp and you've got Sandon Smith there. So all of a sudden, Newcastle might go, okay, well...
We can't fit them all in. Yeah.
Maybe we're better off going with Sandon Smith in the halves, with Fletcher Sharp or Dylan Brown, putting Fletcher, to fullback, and Kalen Ponga. It'd be an enormous call.
Yeah.
But things like that unfold in our game. Those decisions happen from time to time. And if a club, and these conversations are happening in the background, I think
it's just Mal being a bit patient this next 12 months. Like not 12 months, probably 6 to 8 months, because as Mick just alluded to, you know, there's players that are underperforming on big dollars that will next year. The clubs may think that they'd be better off moving on, and they may have the same opinion, the player. And then you've got Perth just sitting there waiting for some of these big guns to go there. And I'm sure the stories will evolve as the season goes on. But just, I know from experience, if they're looking at one big player, that one big player is normally looking for another to go there. And they kind of like, it's a stalemate, you know. If you go, I'll go. And then if that one doesn't go, then it's kind of like, you know.
Well, that's very
domino.
similar.
It's
a domino.
The relationships between the Bromwich brothers and Felice Kafusi. Yeah. So Jesse goes, and then all of a sudden Kenny goes, and then Felice goes, and all of a sudden you've got three pretty experienced blokes. You've
got a half that's playing in front of a strong and very experienced pack, and then you can attract a solid halfback.